Hey guys, this is Shelly, Coffee, Anxiety, and Love. Today it's not that hot, it's Monday, I believe, and that tornado has made landfall in Houston. And my daughter let me know that she's without power. She's like in the Aldine area, and they're doing all right. It's at least most of the damage is done. Everything's swept through, so hopefully no more rain and no more wind. But who knows how long they're going to be without power. She's not really sure if they have power because, the transformers blew out or whatever, or lines down, or if they're part of that area where the transmission lines have gone down, and which they're saying it's going to take a little bit longer to fix. So I'm not sure. She doesn't have a generator, which is really, really not good, but we're working on helping her to get a generator in her house, being that she has the kids and everything. They're not babies or anything, but they still need to at least have their phones charged up to have communication. So hopefully she'll figure that out and find some way to charge up her phone for a little while. Other than that, we and more are fine. There was no wind, no rain, nothing happened with us. It pretty much, got maybe part of San Antonio, but that was about it. Not too much. It was mainly Galveston, Houston, Matagorda, all that. So praying for all them out there, and hopefully everybody comes out okay. But today, I know I did a video a while back, and I was talking about me healing and what I'm going through, and thinking that maybe I should run a series on what I've been through. So I kind of want to start doing that. And let me stop that because I don't want them to flag my video. So I kind of want to start simple, and I kind of want to start with my first memory. I don't know, it was, let me see, I was maybe 4 or 5 years old. It was maybe 1980, maybe 1981. I was born in 73, so 5, 6 years old, somewhere around there. My first memory is within that timeline. I want to say 80, 81. And I remember living not in my grandma and grandpa's house, my dad's mom and dad, but across the street. We lived in a little house. I want to say maybe we lived in a little house. We were there all the time, or else we lived there. I don't remember for sure. But I want to say it was with either my Aunt Becky or my Aunt Carmen. And it was a whole bunch of kids everywhere. So that's I remember that. So it was just me running around. My brother was maybe a baby. Maybe he's 4 years younger than me. So if I was 5 or 6, he's 1 or 2, So that day is my first memory. And that first memory, I don't know what happened. I don't know what was going on. I just know that police and ambulance and everything was at my grandma and grandpa's house. And I know what happened. I'm not going to get into detail on that because I don't know all the details on that. I just know something bad happened. The ambulances were there, and that would have been my first memory. Next memory I'm going to say is a house, and I don't know if it was before. I want to say it's after this. We lived on a house further north side. I want to say off of a street called Boundary. I remember Mama talking about the house on Boundary a lot. And the one memory I have there is this big Halloween party that we had. And we had both sides of the family out there. We had my dad's side of the family and Mama's side of the family. And it was, cousins and brothers and everybody was there, sister, uncle, tias, And it was a big Halloween party, and I remember bobbing for apples. So that's my next memory. The next thing I remember there is, the next flash of a memory I have is being at my grandma and grandpa's house. Or no, there's a memory in there between. Oh, yeah, I don't know if it was at the house on Boundary. I want to say it's the house on Boundary. We had this big wardrobe, the two-door wardrobe, the really tall ones that you put all your clothes in and hang it up. And then at the bottom there's like drawers where you can put more clothes or blankets or whatever. And I remember my dad came home yelling, screaming, throwing things around. I know I want to say he was hitting my mom. I know he was, but I remember that. And I remember my mom just taking my brother, again, I want to say he was a baby still, putting him in there in the bottom of the wardrobe, and then putting me in there as well, and hiding us and putting blankets on us so that my daddy wouldn't find us. And he would usually go at me more than my brother, because my brother was a baby at that time. So she was actually hiding me and trying to keep my brother quiet. And at this point, my brother already knew, even though he was a baby, this is the time that you needed to be quiet. He couldn't cry, he couldn't do anything. So for the longest time, my brother never cried. Even if he was hurt or whatever it was, whatever emotion he needed to cry for, my brother wouldn't cry. There would just be tears in his face, but he would not cry. And that's going to be the next memory that I have. And I'm going past these really fast because I don't have a lot of detail in my brain as to how this all came about and where, like, the timelines kind of mixed up between the houses and stuff. So that would be my third memory. The next one is going to be a moment where I want to say we were at my grandpa's house by this time. And it was before we lived in our big house in Aldine Village. And I remember my daddy just coming through. Oh, you know what house this was? We lived on the other side of Yorkshire, off of Tidwell or Irvington, Cross Timbers and Tidwell. We lived on the other side of Yorkshire. So Grandma and Grandpa lived on past 59 and on the other side of the tracks on Yorkshire. And we lived opposite them, you know, on the other side of the Hardy Toll Road off of Tidwell and Cross Timbers. And we lived off the same street, Yorkshire. And we had a house there. And I want to say that's where this happened. I'm almost certain, but I'm not too sure about the houses or whatever. But all I remember is Daddy running in and telling us to get down, tossing up the sofa so that we're like kind of behind it, like it's blocking us or shielding us. And all I hear is Mom and Dad yelling, and my dad's like, they're coming, they're looking for me, they're right there, they're outside, they're coming for me. And there was nobody there, nothing, nobody following him, nobody around, no police, ambulance, nothing. Just, he was tearing up the house, throwing furniture around, and the sofa went up and everybody got thrown behind the sofa because we were sitting on it. And he told us to stay down because they were coming, they were looking for him. To this day, I don't know what happened or why or where that was coming from. But yes, my dad did drink. Yes, Dad did do other things, and who knows? I never asked about it. We just moved on from every time something happened, you know. Just didn't really talk about it. It happened. We were told to be quiet. Next day everything was fine, and that was it. So those are the first few memories I have in my brain. And I knew who my daddy was. I knew what he did. As far as the drinking anyway, I knew what he did, what he was doing. I didn't know anything else. I found out as I got older what it was. And it was something really bad. And you know, as I grew up and I got into my teenage years, and, you know, I started having friends, and, you know, you're 13 and you go to a party, your first sleepover, or slumber party is what they used to call them, right? So it was my friend from middle school, Luz, and she had a slumber party, and I don't know where we got it from or who bought it for us, or I don't know where it came from. I have no idea. All I know is that we were sitting there. It was her birthday. It was a whole bunch of group of girls. And it was maybe 12, 13, 14 birthday party. I don't know how old she was turning. I want to say her 13th birthday, because we were becoming teens, you know. And that was the first time I had alcohol. And of course we were drinking Boone's Farm, yeah, Strawberry Hill. And we had maybe a bottle of that, and it was bad. It was headache bad. It was headache bad, and it was fun, but it was bad. You know, I mean, back then everybody was doing it, all the kids, no matter what your age. Back then we could drink when we were 13 legally. I mean 18 legally. 13, oh my God. No, back then the age limit to buy beer was 18. They recently changed it after I graduated to 21, or like right before I graduated from high school. They changed it to you have to be 21 to drink. So I was kind of pissy about that, because I was 18, 19, you know. I was just turned 18 when I graduated high school, and I was like, man, I can't even buy beer now. It was supposed to be when I got out of high school I could buy beer. But yeah, that was my first time drinking. I mean, other than the times that, you know, Dad would give me a sip of his beer every now and then while we were at parties or whatever. Yeah, so those are my first few memories that I've been able to go back to. I know there's a lot in between, and I want to keep talking about that. But I knew back then my dad was an alcoholic. And I knew the first time when I was 13, when I took that first drink, that I shouldn't have. But everybody else was doing it, so I couldn't not do it. I mean, I don't think, there wasn't no pressure to do it. None of her sisters or friends or anything would have told me, hey, you have to drink this. No, it was nothing like that. I chose to do that. I made that decision knowing wholeheartedly what could happen to me. And that's the first time I knew. The first time I took that drink, I knew I didn't want to be like my dad. I didn't want to go down that road. I didn't want to be that type of person. I didn't know I wanted to be married and have kids, but I knew I didn't want to be that type of person and treat somebody that way, you know? And that's what I associated drinking with. That's what I figured everybody that drank, that's what was going to happen to them. That's just inevitably the path they were going to take. So I knew then that I didn't want to do that. So yeah, those are my first few memories that I have. And I don't want to make these videos too long, so I'm going to break them up in little pieces. But from that would be my last memory for this video is going to be the age of 13, going to Luce's birthday party, 13, 14, I don't know, maybe we were turning 15, I don't know. But that was the first time I officially drank on my own. Not my dad giving me beer or somebody else in the family giving me a sip of beer or whatever. That was the first time I made a decision to drink on my own, knowing again wholeheartedly what could possibly happen from that, seeing my dad. But it didn't happen right away, you know. What happened to me happened very much later in life, and I'm very aware of what I did. And that's the part that hurts me more, because my kids had to see a part of that. And unfortunately, my kids were old enough to help me get through that, but they shouldn't have had to. I put them in a very bad place, and I leaned on them very much. I didn't try to, and I didn't know I was, but we're just that type of family, and they were going to do it. They weren't going to leave me there to be that person. They never said anything about it. They never told me not to do it. They never told me to slow down. You could just see it in their face. And I chose to keep going. And I know now that should have looked at my family a little bit more and seen their response to what I was doing to myself. And maybe if they would have said something, maybe I would have thought about not doing what I was doing. But we're just that kind of family that doesn't really talk about feelings within the family. And I don't know why. Like, if my son's having issues or whatever, it usually doesn't come to me until it's boiled over. The same thing with my daughter. It just, she handles and goes through and does her thing, and she's got 5 kids and a husband and, you know, her in-laws and everything else, and, you know, nothing's gonna come to me until it boils over and I hear about it from somebody else, you know. Or she'll decide to tell me eventually. But most likely it's once it's boiled over that she'll let me know. And that's just the way we've always handled things in our family, and I don't think that's a very good way to handle stuff, but it's been done, and that's all I can say. So little by little, I am trying to heal myself so that maybe, if not my kids, but maybe my grandkids will follow and see and try to heal themselves before they get there. Who knows? All I can do is put this information out there, let them know what I was going through, how I felt, and why I did maybe what I did, so that they understand there's help out there. You don't have to go through all that alone. You can talk to somebody. Those people don't have to fix it for you. Typically, you just want somebody to hear. You just want to get it out and have somebody listen. They don't need to solve your problem. You just need to be able to talk to somebody about it, so that you don't feel like you're doing it alone. And I should have never put myself in a position to think that I needed to do it alone. I did it alone because I felt like I had no other choice. I have been in survival mode since I was 14 years old. And I'm freaking 50 right now, and I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted from playing survival. I am freaking exhausted. And the biggest part about it is I was so much in survival mode after my divorce that I missed my kids. I missed my son and my daughter growing up. I was there bare minimum for them. And I know they don't hate me for it, and I know they both love me. But I know deep down inside, I wanted to be there so much more, but I couldn't lose my job, and I could not go to work, and I couldn't get in trouble at work because I needed to provide for them. Because it was just me. I didn't fight for child support. I didn't fight him for anything. I had to do it myself. Or I felt like I had to do it myself. So in order for me to do it myself, I went to work. I went to school after work. I had to run them to and from daycares or sitters or whatever. Once they got older, I had to go to work, went to my classes, and then I prayed to God that they were going to be okay, because they were alone in the evening by themselves. And by that time, they were already teenagers, but to me, that was the worst time for teenagers to be alone. And I didn't have any help. I didn't have a mom who was a grandma. And that's the first thing that I did when I had my grandkids. I was their grandma. I wanted them with me. I wanted to be a part of them. I wanted to have them with me. I would take them from my daughter, because I didn't want them to not have what I didn't have. I didn't have a confidant in my mom or my dad as far as taking care of my kids. And maybe I should have asked for help. Maybe I would have got more, but I didn't know the family like that. And that comes a lot from what happened between my mom and dad, how my mom reacted to the other families, and how my dad reacted to my mom because of the way she was with the family. So there was a lot going on there, a lot a lot that I saw that I didn't understand then, but I understand now. And I feel like I lost so much time with a family that I know cares for me and loves me, and I talk to them now, and there's nothing, there's no barrier there. There's absolutely nothing blocking me from talking to them, and I can talk to them for whenever I want to. Pick up the phone and call one of my aunts or call a cousin, and they're going to help me. I just recently reached out to one of my cousins when we had car trouble, and he helped me. He figured out how to help me. But I just feel like I lost so much time with all of them because of how the relationship was with my mom and dad. And like I said, I love my dad, I love my mom. I don't have any hatred towards them. My mom and I don't get along very well, but I don't hate her. My dad, he's done so much on his own for the past few years. I get frustrated when he doesn't tell me he needs help, But we've been that kind of family. There's always been blocks up, roadblocks like crazy. And I don't want I never wanted my kids to feel like that with me. Even though I was in survival mode when they were little, I made sure once we got older that they know, and they do know, they know I am here for whatever they need. And the most I can do is pray for them right now. And I'm trying my best to get us on our feet so that financially, if they need help, I can help them, I was for a little while when they both moved out and I was on my own. I always made sure I had a little bit of extra money put away. That way, in case, they needed anything, they could come to me. Because that's what I wanted from my parents. That's what I wanted from my mom and dad. That's what I got from my grandma and grandpa. There was a gap there. My grandma and grandpa were like my parents at the end, as I got older. They were the ones that helped me out a lot. My grandpa, at one point in time, I was about to get kicked out of my apartment, and my grandpa helped me out, no questions asked. And his thing was, you never asked for help. You never asked me for anything. You have never come to me for anything. So this is not a loan. This is a gift. Do with this what you need to. And all I needed to do was pay my rent. And that was it. I was fine for that month. After that, I found me another job because I had gotten laid off. And my severance had, I had just finished up my severance and I still hadn't been able to find a job. And it was just timing, I just needed that one, little thing left, and then I found a job. But I never wanted my kids to feel like they didn't have parents that they couldn't come to. Even my ex-husband, we had our issues, but no matter what, we promised we would always be there for the kids. No matter how we felt about each other, the kids came first. And we still believe that, even to this day. We still take care of our kids and our grandkids first, on top of anything and everything. And that all comes from me. I know that now. That all comes from me not having that growing up. And you don't know that until you get older. A lot of this, you don't see it happening until it's been said and done, like they say, it's said and done, and then I was supposed to have this other stuff. It was supposed to be this other way. I never had that. So we'll keep talking, and I'll keep letting you know. I'm not sure where I'm going from here, but we might go through a few of my middle school, high school years that I remember what was going on and what happened with my parents. And why I say I've been surviving since I was 14. Alrighty guys, I love you guys. It's not that hot today. I guess I can contribute that to the rain that's been passing through Houston and all that. So humidity is not high right now, and it's not as hot as it should be. So it's kind of overcast. So that's kind of good. Alright guys, love you very much. Coffee, Anxiety, and Love. YouTube channel, Luna Fitness Evo YouTube channel. My website, my travel blog, coffeeanxietylove.com. email and all that will be in the feed. So if y'all need any of that information, just reach out to me. Love you guys. Happy, healthy, prosperous, and abundant day.